Well, lo and behold, Honeymoon Suite. Anybody remember Honeymoon Suite from Canada? If you're watching this video in Canada, you probably remember Honeymoon Suite. Here in the States, you might remember them from the rock and roll charts, although they did have one top 40 hit on Billboard's Hot 100. Was not played, though, that frequently on FM radio, but they got up to number 34 with Feel It Again. That was an anthem. That was an anthem. 1986. I believe that was around the summer of 86, but it could be a little bit later than that. Well, anyway, the song at number 35 on this fancy playlist by Honeymoon Suite. Fancy playlist, September 6, 1986. What Does It Take? From the album The Big Prize. Boy, it was a big prize, all right. Produced by the legendary Bruce Fairbairn. I'll get into that in just a minute. The album, by the way, got well, after the album was released, got big, the group was voted, the band was voted Group of the Year. Juno, got a Juno in Canada, Group of the Year. Formed back in 1981. Johnny D, lead vocals, and there was Brad Ben on keyboards and Mike Lingyel on drums. Two of those guys left, though, by a couple of years later. First single, New Girl Now, went to number 23 in Canada. Here in the States, number 52, ignored here in the States for the most part. But Warner Brothers Music, or Warner Music Canada, otherwise known as WEA Canada, big record company, took notice. On the strength of that record, New Girl Now, signed up the band, and they released their debut album in 1984 and then The Big Prize in 1987. Well, 1986. Bruce Fairbairn. Bruce Fairbairn knows something about producing a hard rock album. You hard rock fans, I'll tell you what, I'm going to talk to you about Bruce Fairbairn. Well, commercially accessible hard rock music. I'll just kind of rephrase it like that. Slippery When Wet, New Jersey by Bon Jovi, produced by Bruce Fairbairn. He either produced or co-produced some albums by Aerosmith, including Pump, which featured Love on an Elevator back in the late summer of '89, and there was Janie's Got a Gun off of that album, Bruce Fairbairn. He produced another album by Aerosmith, Get a Grip. That was in 1992, 1993. But here's the deal about Bruce Fairbairn. This is what I like about him. He produced some albums by Prism. If you're watching this video in Canada, if you're from Canada, you grew up in the late 70s, you probably remember Prism. They did well in Canada, not so much here in the States, though. First album by Prism, God, couple of tracks. One of my favorite cuts from the late 70s. Spaceship Superstar, which did not make top 40 here in the States. And there was the scintillating, the fun, the brilliant, the wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Take me to your captain and tell him why I'm here. Late 77, early 78, produced by Bruce Fairbairn. Get Lucky by Loverboy. 4 times platinum. Everybody's Working for the Weekend. Produced, or at least co-produced by, produced by Bruce Fairbairn. And more recently, Bruce Fairbairn produced an album by NXS. Elegantly Wasted, 1997, last album with Mike Hutchins on lead vocals before he tragically passed away. Well, let's get to this album again. Bob Rock, and engineered. He was an engineer. He assisted in the production of this album, The Big Prize by Honeymoon Suite. Feel It Again going to number 34. I got Feel It Again in my head. I can't get it out of my head. That was a great hard rock record. That went on my fancy playlist big time. Can't resist a hard rock record. This record right here, What Does It Take, originally recorded, I believe it's a multi-track recorder. Do a lot of things with this recorder. Primitive by today's standards, but pretty useful back in the day. They recorded this song originally, the band did, on a Fostex, Fostex recorder, of course made in Japan. They recorded it when they were on a gig in Ontario. Of course, all this got refined and everything else later on in the recording studio. The record, I forgot about this movie. You might remember it. The song was featured on a movie called One Crazy Summer. Anybody remember that? A romantic comedy. Oh well, I missed that one, but did not miss this song though. This song was quite common. A song like this was quite common back in the 80s. You got the heavy guitars spiced up by keyboards. And you got What Does It Take by Honeymoon Suite at number 35. Actually, I think I peeked this out at number 35 on my fancy playlist. Did I go into the chart position of this record? Well, Feel It Again went to number 34 here in the States, went to number 16 in Canada. And What Does It Take went to number 28 in Canada, but bombed here in the States. Went to number 52. That's it. Number 35, Honeymoon Suite on my fancy playlist, September 6th, 1986.